I'm Nancy Drew. This is my center of operations, my desk. Go ahead and poke around. If you want to know the particulars of how I do what I do, take a look at the book titled How to Be a Detective. It's real helpful, especially if you're new to the mystery-solving business. And be sure to check out my scrapbook. I put memorabilia from all my past cases in there. A lot of them were pretty dangerous, and at times really scary. But don't say anything about that to my dad, okay? He worries about me enough as it is. And whatever you do, read what's in the file called Case File. That'll tell you all about the mystery I'm about to try to solve. If you think you're ready to dive into that mystery, just click on the plane ticket and you'll be on your way. When Kyler Mallory called me from her home in London and asked me to be her maid of honor, I was a little reluctant. After all, I hadn't seen her since she stayed with us as an exchange student a couple of years ago. But when she told me the wedding is going to take place at an old family castle in Ireland, how could I say no? The wedding will be very small, but Kyler still needs help with all the final preparations, which means she'd like me to arrive several days early. So I'm going to fly to Dublin, rent a car, and meet Kyler at Castle Malloy. She warned me that the place is somewhat in need of repairs, whatever that means, and unfortunately by the time I get there it'll be night. But I've never been to Ireland before, and I've never even seen a real honest-to-goodness castle, let alone stayed in one. So the fact that it may be dark and run down just makes it more of an adventure. And you know me, whenever the question is who wants to go on an adventure, my answer is always, I do.
In preparation for our landing, please make sure your seatbelt is securely fastened. Thank you.
So your plane was on time, your luggage arrived, your rental car was waiting? Everything went without a hitch?
Yep, and according to Kyler's directions, I'm within 2 kilometers of Castle Malloy. Now stop worrying about me and get over to the Dunhills. What time is it there?
Around 2. The party just started. It's gonna go all day, so I've got plenty of time. Are you driving?
Yes, Ned, I'm talking on my cell phone while I'm driving, but it's okay. There's absolutely no traffic. And I think I see the gates. I gotta go. Say hi to the Dunhills for me and have fun.
Without you? Yeah, right. Take care, Nancy.
Oh, no! What was that? Oh, hello. I'm Nancy Drew. I'm here for the wedding.
The wedding's been called off, so go on back to where you come from.
No, wait, please. My car's in the ditch by the gate. I can't go anywhere.
Walk down the road to the inn then. Give me your keys and I'll see to your car in the morning.
I left the keys in the car. Can I at least talk to Kyler?
She's sleeping.
No, wait. I came all the way from the States.
You cannot stay here. Go to the inn, I said. Now off with you.
Please, can I come in just for a minute? Hello? Are you there? Hello? There's somebody up there. I'll bet it's Kyler. Uh-oh.
Deaf are you now? I told you you cannot be staying here.
Joel, what are you doing? That's Nancy Drew, my maid of honor. Let her in.
Matt's disappeared? How can somebody you came all the way out here with to marry just disappear?
He hasn't disappeared for good. You have to understand, Matt's a bit of a prankster, and the wedding is still days away.
He disappeared as a prank?
He adores getting people in a tizzy. I do think he's pushing the envelope this time, but he'll show up. Mind you, it may not be till I've started down the aisle, but he'll show, saying he just wanted to make this a wedding no one shall ever forget.
Why did that man at the door tell me the wedding was off?
That was the caretaker, Donald Delaney. Not Donald, mind you. There's no D at the end, so it's pronounced Donal. That's the way you're supposed to spell it, which is to say that's the way the Irish spell it.
Proud of his heritage, huh?
Indeed. Which would be tolerable if his love for the Irish wasn't accompanied by an abiding distaste for the British. Now, he rather likes me, but that's only because he considers me to be Irish, since I'm directly related to the man who used to own this place. When it comes to my British fiancé, Donald detests him, which is why he was so quick to tell you the wedding's off. He wants it to be off. He came right out and said, if I am to be married in Castle Malloy, it simply must be to an Irishman. Said my marrying a Brit would upset the fairy people, or whatever he calls them.
Do you have any idea where Matt disappeared to?
No, but I know he didn't go far. The fact is, sometimes I hear him. You know, his voice. It's very faint and muffled, but it sounds like he's calling to me, saying things I can't quite make out. Teasing me, the lout. So I know he's somewhere close by. He'll be here for the wedding. I'd stake my life on it. Of course, I remember well your penchant for solving mysteries, so if you want to give this one a go, by all means do. You could start in the nursery. It's down the hall. That's where Matt had set up his cot and was spending most of his time. Find him, Nancy. Having my maid of honor ruin this silly vanishing trick of his would teach him a lesson he sorely needs.
Someone ran out in front of my car on my way here and caused me to drive into a ditch.
Are you all right?
Me, I'm fine. My car and my cell phone, not so good. And I'm pretty sure whomever I saw dropped this. Looks like some kind of homemade doll.
The clothes. It looks like Matt. And that's his ring. What did the person who dropped this look like?
I didn't really get a good look. It was dark and I was distracted and it moved so fast. Frankly, I'm not even sure if what I saw was a person.
Donal, the caretaker. When we realized Matt was gone, straight away Donal claimed Matt had been kidnapped by fairies, which is of course utterly ridiculous. It was probably Matt himself you saw, tricked out in some costume and leaving that doll behind just to confound us. Well, I do hope he's enjoying himself, because as soon as we're married, that will be that. No more practical jokes. Ever.
Does it bother you to be here all by yourself?
Actually, Matt's best friend Kit Foley is here too. He set up a cot in the great hall downstairs.
When did he arrive?
We all came out together.
Where does Mr. Delaney live?
All I know is he comes at dawn and leaves at sunset. I can't fathom what he does all day, but he always seems to be puttering away at something. When he's not working, He spends most of his time down the road at the Screaming Banshee Inn.
How long has he been the caretaker?
I don't know that either. A long time, I should imagine, seeing as he more or less came with Grandpapa's estate. I should let him go. All he ever talks about are banshees and fairies and leprechauns. And he can be quite obstinate, as you saw at the door. But if Grandpapa saw fit to put up with him all those years, I suppose I can too.
When you said you sometimes hear Matt, where are you when that happens? In here?
In here, in the nursery, sometimes outside. His voice is always very muffled and very, very faint, so I can never tell where it's coming from or what he's saying. But it's Matt, I'm sure of it.
And you've looked all over for him?
When it became apparent he was missing, we searched everywhere for hours. We were afraid he'd gone wading and drowned or something, or wandered into the bog, or gotten lost out on the moor. But we found no footprints, no clothes lying around, nothing. So when I heard his voice, it dawned on me he was playing one of his outlandish pranks. I was furious with him, but truth be told, it was also a bit of a relief.
What are you doing in here, if you don't mind my asking?
Reading. About myself, in a way. You see, until my grandpapa died and left me this place, not only did I have no idea that this castle existed, but I had no idea my real name was not Mallory, but Malloy. Apparently, Grandpapa changed his name 50 years ago, so no one would find out he was Irish.
Your parents didn't even know?
Unfortunately, they're no longer with us, so I can't ask them. But as far as I know, Grandpapa never told anyone his true ancestry, not even my father. I think it had something to do with his brother, Brendan, the man who owned this place and was living here when it exploded during World War II. He was rumored to have been a double agent, supposedly doing top-secret research for the Allies, but in truth passing his findings on to the Axis. Not exactly a brother you want people to know about.
If the rumors were true.
Anyway, ever since I found out I'm a Malloy, I can't stop reading about Ireland. So many different people have populated this country at one time or another. The Celts, the Druids, the Gaels. It's all quite fascinating.
All these books were Brendan's?
I can't be certain, but I assume so. He was quite the inventor, I do know that. Everything that remains in this place seems as if it's been tinkered with. Even his daughter's dollhouse, of all things.
I'd better get to work.
The 5 months I spent living with you, your dad, and Hannah. And Togo, of course. That was a very happy time for me, Nancy. I can't tell you how thrilled I am you're here.
I get to see you again, and I get to see Ireland? I'm the one who's thrilled, believe me. Let me know if there's anything else I can do for you. I'm your maid of honor, remember?
I haven't forgotten.
Whoa, that would have been quite a fall. This'll come in handy.
Nancy, splendid timing. I just thought of something you can do for me. There's an old-fashioned printing press downstairs. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't taken a good look around down there yet.
Just go down the stairs and look for the monstrosity with the big wheel and the levers. You can't miss it. It came with the castle. My great-uncle Brendan had all sorts of gizmos and gadgets and machinery lying around. Anyway, when I saw the printer, I told Matt why not save some money and print the programs for the wedding right here. Problem is, Matt failed to get them done before he turned into the merry prankster, and since I have the mechanical aptitude of a bacterium... Would you mind finishing the job for me? You'd only have to print 3 more sheets, and the plate, the ink, the paper, everything you need is right there.
No problem.
Thank you, Nancy. You're the best. Did you print the rest of the programs?
Not yet, but I will.
Anything else to report?
I found these glasses in the fireplace in the nursery.
Those are Matt's. You found them in the fireplace?
Did you look there when you were searching for Matt?
Of course not. Why would we look in the fireplace? Matt never, ever took his glasses off. Mostly because without them, he can't see 2 feet in front of him.
Why was he staying in the nursery? Why didn't he stay downstairs with Kit?
Because Donal said the nursery was haunted, that's why. Naturally, once he heard that, Matt refused to sleep anywhere else but the nursery. The stubborn twit. Oh, Nancy, maybe he truly is in trouble.
Let me do some more looking around before we jump to any conclusions. The glasses could still just be part of an elaborate practical joke.
You're absolutely right. Please find him, Nancy. I do so want to strangle him.
If Matt was staying in the nursery, where's his luggage?
Right there by his cot.
It's not there now.
But it was there, just last night. I remember seeing it when I peeked in to see if he'd finally decided to reappear. At least, I think I saw it last night. If it's not there now, perhaps Donal moved it, took it to storage or something. Because I know I saw it after Matt went missing. So it's around here somewhere, just like he's around here somewhere. I'm sure of it.
Did you know when you decided to hold your wedding here that half the place is pretty much rubble?
Oh, yes. Mind you, I didn't even know that Castle Malloy existed until Grandpapa died and I was notified that I'd inherited it, at which point the executor of his estate sent me pictures and assured me that despite its appearance, it was in fact habitable.
It looks like a bomb went off in it.
No doubt because one did. One summer night in 1944, this place, or half of it at least, just suddenly blew up. It was rumored that my great-uncle Brendan was working on something that involved a new kind of rocket fuel. He was killed along with his wife and young daughter. Apparently, they all just vaporized. Which, I guess, is why Donal claims the nursery, where the little girl spent most of her time, is haunted.
I'm gonna go play detective now.
As soon as you find out anything, let me know.
Alan Payne. That's kind of weird.
Hi, you must be Nancy Drew. I'm Kit Foley. Ignore the eye if you can. Walked into a door the other day. Looks worse than it feels. I'm a bit surprised you're still here, given the circumstances.
I was going to say the same about you.
I'm not about to leave Kyler here by herself. Until she comes to her senses, I'm staying put.
What do you mean, comes to her senses?
Matt isn't playing a practical joke, and he hasn't been kidnapped by fairies. He got cold feet and left. It's as simple as that.
Are you sure?
Well, Matt didn't come out and tell me he was leaving. But hey, I am his best friend. I know him better than anybody. I mean, he loves Kyler, but she can be a handful. And he's no pushover either. Their relationship is so tempestuous, it scares him. She thinks once he makes a real commitment, everything will be fine. But he's not so sure. So he bailed.
I don't think the possibility that he walked out on her has even occurred to her.
She's in a raging state of denial, and I, for one, don't see any harm in allowing her to stay that way. I seriously doubt he walked out on her for good. It's just that for Matt, marriage is way too much, way too soon.
If you and Matt are best friends, how come he didn't make you his best man?
Matt felt like it would be a good move for him politically if he asked this guy he knows from work, Alan Payne, to be his best man, and I said fine, don't worry about it, no big deal.
When or how did you realize that Matt had disappeared?
Kyler and I went for a walk, came back, and the next thing I knew, Kyler was saying Matt was nowhere to be found.
Where did you last see him?
In the nursery. He always seemed to be in the nursery fiddling with things. Whenever I'd tease him about it, he'd always give me this impish little grin like he was up to something. When I checked the nursery and saw that Matt's suitcase and backpack were gone, it finally dawned on me that he had left and he wasn't coming back. Of course, by that time, Kyler had convinced herself that he was simply playing one of his practical jokes, and I couldn't bring myself to burst her bubble, so I didn't.
It looks like you're drawing something. Are you an artist?
Me? Not hardly. I'm with a real estate development company. These are just preliminary sketches for a couple of projects we're working on. In other words, I'm doing homework.
Residential real estate or commercial?
Mostly residential. And let me tell you, we'd have a field day with attractive land like the one this castle sits on. Ocean view, easy commute to Donegal, bedrock foundation, readily accessible groundwater. That bog's a bit problematic, but a little sand, a little gravel, a little landscaping, voila! A cluster of 6, maybe 8 luxury homes amid a park-like setting that would sell like lightning.
How come you sound so American?
Because I am American. My father's VP of International Sales for Krollmeister Incorporated. The company transferred him to London 15 years ago. I've pretty much lived there ever since, I just can't seem to pick up the accent.
Time for me to scoot.
Keep it real.
Did you finish the programs?
Yep. But I noticed that they say the best man is someone named Alan Payne. If Kit is Matt's best friend, why isn't Kit the best man?
Matt said that's the way Kit wanted it. He got here early, too. But when Matt vanished, Alan was certain that Matt was playing a joke and refused to be the butt of it. So he went back to London, saying he'll reappear only when Matt does, and not a moment before. You know, perhaps you should give Alan a call. 0044-020-7946-0481. He may have seen something while he was here that could help you find Matt. You'll have to use the phone down the road at the inn, however. My cell phone gets absolutely no reception here.
I'm gonna go play detective now.
Keep me posted.
That's just a little too far to jump. Where are those lights in the tower coming from? Wonder what that crow's doing in there. That's a pretty big step. What is that?
Hello?
Yes, hi. My name is Nancy Drew. I'm calling from Castle Malloy. I'm Kyler Mallory's maid of honor.
Yes, I remember that name. Has Matthew finally put an end to that ridiculous prank of his?
No, I'm afraid he's still at it. But if you have a second, could I ask you some questions?
It should be a minute or two before my ride gets here. What's on your mind?
Did you see or hear anything strange while you were at Castle Malloy?
If you mean, did I get the impression that the castle was haunted or enchanted or anything like that? No. Frankly, I was too distracted by the strange human goings-on to pay much attention to anything else.
What do you mean?
I mean, for three people who purport to be friends, it seemed to me they did an inordinate amount of fighting. For instance, the evening before Matt disappeared, he and Kit had a terrible row. I couldn't make out exactly what was being said, but they both sounded very angry. Furious, I dare say. In fact, the next time I saw Kit, he was sporting a black eye. And the next morning, Matt and Kyler had a go at each other. Nothing physical, mind you, and once again, I couldn't make out what was said, but I promise you, they were quite put out with each other. I was more than happy to bid the lot of them farewell, though I imagine I'll be returning to the castle before too long. Matt is bound to find his prank as tedious as everyone else does eventually. I must be off. Nancy, it was a pleasure venting to you. Hopefully before too long we shall meet in person. Cheers.
So, you're not so keen on staying at the castle after all, then?
I'm staying there. I just wanted to talk to you.
Come to me for a bit of aid and advice, did you? Well, I've got none to give. Not till I got the day's troubles behind me and a crow's nest in front of me.
Huh?
The mix maid suddenly took ill, leaving poor Seamus on his own, running back and forth, trying to mix and serve at the same time. I ordered soon as I walked in, yet here I sit, dying of thirst. I'll do no talking till I get me crow's nest, and there's the sorry truth of the matter. But now, were some spry and spunky lass to lend poor Seamus a hand by taking over the mixing for a while, that would surely speed the plough.
Sounds good to me. I'll see to it you get your crows whatever, ASAP.
Gonna play Mix Maid for a while, are ya? Well, here's what you're to do. I'll take the orders and put the tickets up here. Each ticket will have no more than 2 drinks on it. And to save time, I draw little pictures instead of writing out their names. The mixin' book will tell you which little picture stands for what drink. It'll also tell you what's in each drink and how to make each drink. Now, to pour something, put the silver mixing glass under either the juice tap or the beer tap. Then, press whatever button the mixing book tells you to press. The book will also tell you how many times to press it. If the drink needs blending, you'll see a picture of a blender at the top of the column in the book. You're to put the solid ingredients into the blender first, then pour whatever's in the mixing glass into the blender. Then, press the red button. And when the blending's done, just reach under the counter and find the serving glass that's pictured in the book. Put the serving glass on the grey mat and pour everything from the blender into the serving glass. If the drink doesn't need blending, just find the right serving glass, put it on the grey mat, and pour everything you've poured into the mixing glass into the serving glass. Then, add anything else the book tells you to add, put the serving glass on the tray to the right of the ticket it goes to, and start fixing the next drink. Soon as you've made all the drinks on a ticket, ring the bell and I'll serve 'em up. Just remember, if the orders start coming thick and fast and the tickets start piling up, you're to make the drinks on the ticket closest to the bell first. Now, you'll be making no mistakes, I'm sure. But if you do, just toss the glass into the rubbish bin down there to the right and start over. Mind you, lass, you must do the mixing fast and proper. The quicker you mix, the more tips you'll be keeping. To work with you now. You do fine work, miss. Another round completed. All done and dusted, are ya? Thank you, miss. Take what's in the tip jar, and the next time you help out, you can keep the tips then as well.
You make a mean crow's nest, girl. Well done. Now, I'm to tell you what happened to the Sassenach, am I?
I'm sorry, happened to the what?
The Sassenach. The Englishman. The one Kyler was supposed to be marrying. Well, what happened to him is this. The She took him. The good people whisked him straight off to their world, they did.
By the good people, you mean fairies?
You'll not be hearing me call him that. All of us have a name we prefer, and with them, the good people it is. So that's what I call him, and you'd be wise to do the same.
Just what are these good people going to do with him?
Whatever they please. He's in their world now, and he'll not be coming back. That's as much of the truth as we'll ever know. 'Tis not the first time the good people have seen fit to meddle in the affairs of Castle Malloy. Caused the explosion they did.
The one that destroyed half the castle?
Brendan, his wife, Caitlin, used to own this place, she did. Aye, and their little girl, Fiona. All three were lost to the world forever when the place blew. But the blame lay not with Malloy. It was the good people. They'd taken a shine to Fiona, is why. And they knew that little girls, no matter how much they're adored by wee folk or mortals, sooner or later, all little girls grow up and grow old. The good people couldn't bear to see this happen to their beloved Fiona, so they made full sure it never did.
Sounds to me like the good people are actually just the opposite.
They have their ways, and we have ours, is all. That's just the way of things. Got plans for you, they do.
The fairies? The good people? What makes you say that?
I meant to pocket your car keys for safekeeping on my way over here, but I couldn't find 'em.
You mean my keys weren't in the car?
Aye, that's exactly my meaning. Taken they were. The good people want you to be staying.
Do you dislike all Englishmen as much as you dislike Matt Simmons? Or is he special somehow?
I've little use for any Sassenach, but I took a disliking to this one soon as I laid eyes on him. Arrogant he was, cocky, disrespectful, foolish, always touching things he shouldn't, going places he didn't belong. Worse than a stray dog, that one was.
What about Kyler?
Aye, Kyler. She's different. She belongs here. It's in her blood. It's the reason she does naught but read up in the library. She'll not be leaving Ireland, mark my words. And if she winds up marrying Mr. Foley, all the better.
So Kit, you like?
Aye. He may talk like a Yank and live like a Brit, but there's Irish in the lad. I saw it right off. Little wonder he's in love with the girl. They'll make a fine pair.
Whoa, wait a minute. Kit's not in love with Kyler.
Blind, are you now? Loves her, he does indeed. He's all but wearing a sign saying so. He came to the wedding early to make sure there'd never be a wedding. Only the good people saw to that for him. Ah, the luck of the Irish.
I'd better get going.
Be careful out there, lass.
like a fortune.
How's it going?
Alan Payne told me he overheard you and Matt arguing the day before Matt disappeared, and pretty much right before you walked into that door.
What were you doing talking to Alan Payne?
I thought he might know something that could help us find Matt.
I told you, Matt bailed. He doesn't want to be found. Look, like I said, Alan Payne doesn't really know Matt or me that well, okay? The fact is, he misunderstood what he heard. Matt and I have been friends for more than 12 years. We were just fooling around.
Fooling around? You ended up with a black eye.
I told you that was an accident. I'm clumsy.
What were you two talking about?
I forget. That's how inconsequential it was. Hey, I just remembered. Carla wants me to do the seating chart for the wedding dinner. Like I said, I can't bring myself to tell her there's not going to be a wedding. Anyway, I need to get to work on it, so you're gonna have to excuse me. Of course, you could always give it a shot. You just have to figure out where each guest should sit by taking into account their needs and preferences. What do you say?
Sure, I can do that.
Excellent. Just fill it out and bring it back to me when you think you've got everyone sitting in the right place. 'Cause unless and until it gets done, afraid I'm gonna be pretty much incommunicado. How's the seating chart coming?
Could you take a look at it?
You bet. This looks great. Wow, you did it. I'm impressed.
So now we can talk.
Yeah, now we can talk. Oh, hey, actually, you might want to take a look at this first. I found it on the floor in Matt's room when I was looking for him.
What is it?
Frankly, it didn't make a lot of sense to me, but maybe it will to you. Take it. If anybody can figure out what Matt was doing with it, you can, I'm sure. Good luck.
You have a lead?
When I called Alan Payne, he said that on the day Matt disappeared, you and Matt had a pretty big argument.
I dare say Matt and I have argued about one thing or another every day since we met. That's just how we are together.
Alan said it sounded pretty serious.
Well, Alan was wrong.
I'd better get to work.
Keep me posted.
It looks like a piece is missing.
What's going on?
If you weren't going to be the best man, how come you came out here so early?
I volunteered to help get everything set up, and Matt and Kyler took me up on it. I'm pretty good friends with Kyler, too. In fact, I'm the one who introduced her to Matt.
How long ago was that?
A little less than a year ago. They both claimed it was love at first sight, and it seemed like it really was, right up until a couple of days ago. You sure do ask a lot of questions. Wait a minute. Nancy Drew. Kyler told me about you. You're the girl who likes to play detective.
Well, it's just, kind of a hobby. Although Kyler did say it'd be nice if I could find Matt.
Well, you're not gonna have any luck doing that. Old Matt is long gone.
Kyler says sometimes she hears Matt's voice, only it's very faint and muffled. Do you ever hear him?
No. Man, Kyler must be losing it or something, because I'm telling you, Matt is not here.
The caretaker seems to think you're the one who should be getting married here, not Matt.
Yeah, well, in case you haven't noticed, that guy's got several screws loose. I just happened to mention that 3 out of my 4 grandparents were born in Ireland, and now whenever he sees me, he gets this weird look in his eye.
How did he act towards Matt?
He and Matt did not get along. They were always at each other's throats, arguing about the stupidest things. Even those leprechaun gnome things out in the garden. Donal had a fit one day when he saw Matt messing with them. And when Matt announced he was going to stay in the haunted nursery, I thought the guy was going to burst a blood vessel, he turned so red. But Matt disappeared on his own, not because of anything Donal did. I mean, the old coot's not that crazy. Is he?
From the looks of that picture I found over there, it looks like you and Kyler used to be a lot more than friends.
Yeah, we dated for a while, until it finally became obvious that we were better as a couple of friends than as a couple. No biggie.
That discussion you had with Matt? Come on, really. What was it about?
It was about Kyler. I was asking Matt whether he had truly thought through what being married to her was going to be like. The more questions I asked, the more nerves I struck, and the more uncomfortable and angry he became, until finally...
He gave you that shiner.
He stomped upstairs to the nursery. Next day, he disappeared. Obviously, the things I said got to him. So if I seem a little guilty to you, it's because I am guilty. It's my fault that Matt walked out on Kyler. Simple as that.
Have you ever been up in the tower?
Uh-uh. You saw the stairs, or what's left of them. There's no way to get up there.
I could have sworn I saw lights coming from it.
Perhaps it was the good people come a-calling on their good friend Donal. Or maybe it was just reflected moonlight or something. So if you're thinking Matt's up there, forget it. Ain't no way.
Time for me to scoot.
Drop by anytime.
You're right. There has to be a logical explanation for what we just saw. So I'm going to calm down, relax, and trust that you will discover what that thing was. You are going to figure it out, aren't you, Nancy?
I promise. Looks like I need a key. Ew!
What's on your mind, then?
Have you ever been to the other side of the bog?
Do I look daft to you now? There's no walking across the bog. Once you fall in, there's no getting out. When I was your age, younger even, there was talk of an old gypsy woman who kept house in the bog, living all by herself, crazy as could be. But a tall tale is all it was. You stay clear of that bog, girl. There be no crossing it. Not if you're fond of living.
I should get back to the castle.
Be careful out there, lass.
What's going on?
I found the sketch you did on the ground outside. What's it for?
What, that? I was just messing around. See, I'm into real estate, and whenever I see an interesting tract of land, I like to sketch out how I'd develop it. Just to, keep the juices flowing. It doesn't mean anything. I was just doodling.
Great, so it's okay if I keep this.
Sure. Go right ahead.
I'll see you later, okay?
Drop by anytime.
You have a lead?
Mostly I have a question. Do you know anything about this sketch? I found it outside.
It looks like a drawing for some kind of housing development, for the land the castle sits on.
Apparently Kit did them. Did you ask him to?
No, and I seriously doubt Matt did either. Kit must have done those on his own. The question is, why? Anyway, I thought of something else you can do for me. Since there's a possibility, however remote, that there are forces at work around here that none of us completely understands, I think it only prudent to do what I can to counteract them. To that end, I would like to include these herbs and flowers in my wedding bouquets. According to Irish lore, each of them is believed to be associated with things I could use a little more of right now. If you could pick them for me and put them in that vase over there, that would be wonderful. Here's a basket. This, of course, means that in spite of whatever it was I saw in the nursery, I still believe there will indeed be a wedding, because no matter who or what took Matt, you're going to find him, Nancy. I have to believe that. Please don't let me down.
I'd better get to work.
Keep me posted.
That sheep doll needs stuffing. To stuff that sheep doll, I'm going to need more wool.
Those were just some sketches I made because I was bored. I do that all the time. I'm not after your property.
Then what are you after?
Nothing.
But why are you trying to tell me there's not going to be a wedding?
Because Matt is gone.
Matt would never walk out on me. Never.
He still loves you, Kyler, but he's not ready to get married, and he just didn't know how to tell you.
Oh, so he told you to tell me? Or was his leaving your idea? What'd you tell him, Kit? That I still had feelings for you? That it isn't over between us? Because it is. You know that, don't you? It is most definitely over.
Do you think you feel so?
I'd better not go in there.
What's going on?
I found Matt's luggage in here, right over there.
What? Over where?
It was behind the cots.
How'd it get there?
Looks to me like someone was trying to hide it.
Well, it wasn't me. Matt hid it. Oh my gosh. He didn't go back to London. He's been here the whole time. Kyler was right. Oh my gosh.
You think he's just pulling one of his pranks?
He must be. And I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. The worst part is, if he's just playing a joke, it means he intends to go through with the wedding after all. Big mistake, Matty, my boy. Big mistake.
I couldn't help but overhear the discussion you and Kyler had in the library.
That sure didn't go like I planned. All this talk of fairy kidnappings and practical jokes, I just thought it was time to clear the air, but what happens? Not only did she accuse me of being the bad guy in all this, but as it turns out, she had it right, and I had it wrong. Matt didn't walk out on her. His luggage proves it.
The part about your still having feelings for her, was she right about that too?
Yeah. As for what, if anything, I'm gonna do about it, I haven't quite figured that out.
Time for me to scoot.
Keep it real.
You've picked all the flowers?
Yep.
Go ahead and put them in that vase.
There you go.
Splendid. Anything else to report?
I found Matt's luggage hidden behind the cots downstairs by Kit's things.
How did it get down there?
It kind of looked like Kit was hiding it.
Oh, don't be silly. Why would Kit do a thing like that? Well, anyway, that's a good thing. It means Matt's still around here, just as I've been saying all along. Anything else to report?
I'm gonna go play detective now.
Keep me posted.
What's on your mind, then?
What do you know about the stone pillars with all the weird writing on them?
I've never been able to make heads or tails of 'em. Even bought me a book on Ogham runes. Waste of good money, that was.
Ogham runes?
All those lines. Ancient Celtic symbols they are. Runes. Spell out something. I lack the time and patience to work out just what.
I wouldn't mind having a go at it. Do you think I could borrow your book?
Sorry to say, I'm not in a lending mood at the moment, lass. A wee bit of me favourite drum music would put me right, but the band can't be playing it because their drummer took sick. Looking for someone to take his place, they are.
I could probably fill in. I mean, not permanently, but...
Go to it, then. One ditty is all. Play it well enough, and the book'll be yours. Seamus will help you get started.
What a fine lass you are for helping out the band. Now here's what you do. Watch the cue. When it reaches the drum, just hit the corresponding section of the bowline with the beater. Keep doing that till the song's over. And if you've kept the beat well enough, the band'll split their tips with you. They're about to start. Just watch the bar, keep your wits about you, and you'll do fine. Good beat. Here's your share.
Sweet as clover to the honeybee, that was. Here's the book. Keep it as long as you like. I'll not soon have need of it. Will you be wanting something else from me then?
Would you by any chance know how Matt's luggage wound up hidden behind the cots in the Great Hall?
That I would. I put it there. I told the Sassenach he was not to stay in Fiona's room, yet he did nonetheless. So, while he was out with the others, I took his bags and hid him, thinking to force him to leave her room. Wasted time, that was. Turns out the good people had something else in mind. Good at finding things, are ya?
As a matter of fact, I am very good at finding things.
Got something for you then.
A key?
Aye, to the sheep pen. The sheep I'm keeping on the castle grounds need bringing in so I can shear 'em first thing tomorrow.
You want me to bring them in?
There's 10 of 'em is all. With that lantern of yours, you'll be done before you know. Go on now, take it. Just walk the grounds, and whenever you come upon a sheep, blow a whistle, and back they'll go to the barn. When you think all 10 are in, go to the barn and make sure, then lock the place up, and that'll be that. Don't be looking at me like I've got 3 heads, lass. You can do it. Out with you now. There's work to be done.
There, the paddock's all locked up.
The sheep are tucked away in the barn, then?
They sure are.
I knew you could do it, lass. Will you be wanting something else from me, then?
Since you're going to shear the sheep that are in the barn tomorrow anyway, would it be okay if I sheared one of them tonight?
You know how to shear a sheep, do you?
Well, no, but I need some raw wool, and I figure it can't be that hard.
I'm willing to let you give it a try, but you'll not be finished till you've filled 3 bags. Do I have your word on it?
3 bags of wool, you got it.
All right, then. The book there in the barn will tell you how to operate all the equipment. Oh, and to get a sheep into the shearing station, just blow this tune on your whistle. Read the instructions, blow the whistle, and you'll be adding sheep shearing to your list of talents in no time at all.
One bag down, 2 bags to go. That's 2 bags. I promised Mr. Delaney I'd fill 3. Now that's an interesting look. Is that a sheep or a show dog? There, all done.
What's going on?
I found out that Mr. Delaney is the one who hid Matt's luggage.
Why would he do that?
Apparently, he was adamant that Matt not stay in the nursery, so he removed all of Matt's things and hid them down here, thinking it would force Matt out. That was the day Matt disappeared.
Stubborn old loon. Well, then, I guess that just proves this really is all just one big inane practical joke. Matt vanished, thinking we'd find his luggage in the nursery. Unless Denal is lying, and he hid the luggage for some other reason. For crying out loud, Nancy, find Matt before this mystery drives us all loony.
Good talking to you.
See ya.
gosh, I'm flying! Woohoo! Matt, are you in here? Hello? Anybody here? I think this doll is supposed to be me. Oh my gosh. Listen, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be in here. This is your home, isn't it? My name's Nancy Drew, and you're Fiona, right? Fiona Malloy? Fiona, listen, I didn't mean any harm. See, I'm looking for someone, a young man named Matt. I don't suppose you've seen him. Fiona?
No, don't touch that. No! Nuts. Well, now you're trapped over there and I'm trapped over here. No harm done.
I take it you're Matt. I'm Nancy Drew, the maid of honor.
Thrilled, I'm sure. You wouldn't happen to have a tunnel boring machine in your pocket, would you? Or food? Do you have any food on you? A biscuit or two? Some crisps? Cocoa Kringle? Anything?
Sorry.
Oh, the only thing that woman in the shabby dress ever gives me are carrots and potatoes and such. I've been wandering around down here for days. I want something full of sugar and nice, greasy fat. You know, real food.
She feeds you?
Every once in a while, the silo slides open, and she'll be standing up there in the fresh air looking down at me. Then I get showered with vegetables, she goes away, and the silo slides shut. Whenever I talk to her, she kind of grunts as if she understands what I'm saying, yet she refuses to help me. It's like I'm her pet or something. And now there's two of us. Dibs on the potatoes.
Why did this door shut when I pulled that switch?
As best I can figure from the papers and drawings I've found, you're standing in the laboratory where the bloke who lived here during World War II did all his top-secret research. He was working on new forms of propulsion to be used in flying machines, rockets, that sort of thing. Apparently, to keep unwanted visitors out, he planted devices which would allow him, at the push of a button, to seal off the lab. This gate and all the others will go up when our hostess decides to feed us. Opening those silo doors seems to reset everything.
Opening those silo doors is also the only way out of here. Believe me, I know.
Kyler and Kit think you disappeared as a practical joke.
A reasonable assumption. Pulling the wool over people's eyes while pulling the rug out from under them is something I take great pleasure in. I don't know why, I just do. And actually they are, in a way, quite correct. In point of fact, I stumbled upon the entrance to a secret passage in the nursery, so I thought it would be jolly good fun to make some ghostly sorts of noise from inside it and give Kyler a fright. But all of a sudden this crow flew in through the window and came straight at my eyes. I fell backwards into the passage trying to get away from it, and the next thing I knew, I was falling through a hole in the floor. Fortunately, I only fell about 2 meters. So I got to my feet, and since it was dark and my glasses were knocked off when that crow attacked me, I started feeling my way along the wall, looking for a ladder or something so I could climb back up. But instead, my hand hit some sort of button. A siren went off, the door above me slid shut, and there I was. I yelled until I was hoarse, but no use. I was trapped. So I felt my way along the tunnel, looking for another way out, until I got to the lab you're standing in, at which point I blundered into the button you just pressed, siren goes off, door comes down, and suddenly I'm even more trapped. Not long after that, the doors at the top of the silo slid open, so I looked up, and by squinting really hard, I could see an old woman with long hair, wearing a long ratty dress, just standing there, looking down at me. I called to her, told her who I was and what had happened. I told her everything, called to her till I went hoarse again, but she just stood there. I even tossed my ring up to her, saying, "Go ahead, keep it, just get me the heck out of here." Nothing.
Kyler's trying her best not to show it, but she's really worried about you.
That's the worst of it, knowing that my eagerness to play a silly prank on her is going to wind up ruining the wedding. She's going to be so disappointed, and humiliated, and appalled. She'll never forgive me. What an idiot I am. I love her so much, and I am so lucky a mongrel like me landing someone as smart and beautiful as her, and now, whether I ever get out of here or not, I'm going to lose her. What an unthinking, short-sighted, immature idiot.
For a while, Kit was convinced you disappeared because you had decided you didn't want to marry Kyler after all.
I'm not surprised. The fact is, soon after we got here, he tried to tell me I was about to make a colossal mistake and that I should call off the wedding. Such wishful thinking on his part is exactly why I didn't ask him to be my best man. Oh, I made up some excuse about office politics and occupational expediency, but Kit was and is, and hopefully always will be, my best friend. But having him be my best man knowing he's still smitten with Kyler? I figured I'd pass.
Mr. Delaney, the caretaker? He thinks you were spirited away by fairies.
You know, I actually miss that superstitious, super ridiculous old fossil. Kit and I spent the better part of an evening rigging line in the garden so we could fool him into thinking a leprechaun was moving through the bushes. Only a branch snapped off and whacked Kit in the eye, and that was that. Except, I must admit, seeing as I have no idea who or what that thing is that has us trapped down here, Mr. Delaney might not be all that wrong.
I'm pretty sure her name's Fiona. She's the daughter of Brendan Malloy, the guy who was doing all the research down here. Everyone thought she was killed along with her parents when this place exploded. But she wasn't, and she's been wandering around in the bog near the castle ever since.
So, if our wedding ever does take place, it looks like I'll end up with a crazy in-law after all.
Well, I'm going to go find us a way out of here.
You do that.
Did you know there was a button here that says, in case of lockdown, press to open?
What? You mean something that could open up a way to escape was right under my nose the whole time? That does it. If I get out of here, I'm having that eye surgery. My weak stomach will just have to get over it.
I can't reach. It's too high.
I really couldn't tell you.
Kyler, we're trapped down here. Get a ladder or something.
Oh, Matt, I've been so worried about you. Where have you been? I missed you so much. I was afraid I'd never see you again. And I've got so much to tell you. No, I take that back. There's only one thing I want to tell you. I love you. Do you hear me? I love you.
By the time Kit came back with a ladder, Kyler had said I love you to Matt approximately 150 times. And Matt had said it to Kyler about 200 times. And they were still saying it to each other on the day of their wedding 4 days later. Even Kit remarked that Matt's little misadventure seemed to have been good for their relationship. Needless to say, this bummed Kit out, until he met the very beautiful young Irish woman who catered the reception. Long story short, it looks like Kit will soon be returning to Ireland, and not just to sketch plans for potential housing developments. As for Mr. Delaney, he still can't accept the fact that the strange wail I kept hearing wasn't a banshee, but an old siren that Matt kept inadvertently setting off down in the tunnels. Nor is he clear on the fact that Fiona, whose jetpack was also a source of weird noises, was responsible for many of the strange phenomena he'd always attributed to fairies. But he understood immediately that Fiona was someone in need of compassion and helped the police take her into custody without incident. Apparently, after the explosion killed her parents, Fiona was taken in and raised by an old hermit who lived alone in the bog hut, which did not exactly do wonders for the little girl's mental or emotional development. But she's getting lots of attention now, and she's so bright, after all, her father was a rocket scientist, that her prognosis is actually pretty good. Me, I'm on my way back to the States via jet plane, not jetpack. My pack and Fiona's were quickly confiscated by military types bent on adapting them for use on the battlefield. Unfortunately for them, Brendan's intricate fuel system has them completely and hopelessly stumped, which has no doubt made Fiona's crow and all its feathered friends very happy. They finally have the skies above Castle Malloy all to themselves. When my best friend Bess Marvin wins a vacation for 3 at a resort on a private island in the Bahamas, she naturally invites me and her cousin George Fain to go with her. But by the time I arrive, the owners of the resort are nowhere to be found, and Bess has been kidnapped. To get her back, George and I must find a long-lost treasure, a quest that brings us face to face with many of the island's strange inhabitants, and forces us to risk our lives, both on and in the sea. Help us find the treasure before this sun-drenched paradise turns deadly. In my next adventure, Ransom of the 7 Ships.